Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning, the 22nd of March, and I want to give you some thoughts on the latest in the Madeline Soto case today. If you saw my live stream yesterday where I played the uneventful press conference, uneventful, after that big build-up, you'll know that I did have some thoughts afterwards, but I've had even more thoughts, and I particularly want to focus on the medical examiner's report, or lack thereof. So, without further ado, let's go. So I'm not sure why they held a press conference, given that there was no murder charges announced, there was no charges for Jenn Soto, Madeline's mother. There was no release of the cause and manner of death. Nothing that was at all substantial. Indeed, the police chief said, "We've got nothing new."
We know that you're working behind the scenes during this investigation to make sure everything is in order, but what can you tell us new today that we don't already know?
I don't have anything new that you don't already know, other than our detectives are working tirelessly day in and day out to ensure, all the facts are uncovered in this investigation.
So why do a press conference in the first place? Why give the media and all of us 24 hours notice? I was thinking it's got to be big, it's got to be huge, it's got to be a murder charge. But no, it was nothing. And I'm guessing that they've had a lot of requests by the media to give an update, and that's why they've done it. They could have done it in a press release, written press release, but probably thought that would create more questions than it solves. So they've done a press conference, and it's very frustrating because the police chief was just giving, the standard answers. Everyone's still a suspect.
Is the mother a suspect or a person of interest in this investigation? And also with the videos that you uncovered, is there any evidence of the mother's involvement on any of these videos?
So everyone that was close to Madeline is considered suspect until we have proven otherwise.
So Jenn Soto is a suspect. Everybody close to Madeline is a suspect. What that means, I guess, it means were people close to her, including her own mother, involved in the abuse. She wouldn't say whether there was any indication that Jenn was in those photos and videos, those horrendous photos and videos that have resulted in 60 charges of various types of abuse for Stephan Sterns. Whether Jenn knew something and covered up for Stephan. She clearly lied. She absolutely lied. We know she lied. Because in the initial officer's report, she said she saw Madeline getting dressed at 8 a.m. on February 26th. And Stephan said he dropped her off at the church near the school at 8:40. Lies.
Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working nonstop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
To the media, Jenn said the last time she saw her was the night before, because she'd had a great party that Jenn couldn't attend because of work. But she was happy, nothing untoward. Next morning, didn't see her. All right, you lied. You clearly lied. So people defending Jenn Soto, it's right there. She lied. You can't get around that. But was that because she wasn't there at all? She just wasn't there, and she's believed everything that Stephan told her? Possibly. Or does it mean that she openly covered up for Stephan because she knows something dreadful happened? Those are the things that the cops are going to have to work around. Stephan has got a lawyer. He is not speaking. I don't know how. I really don't know how he can plead anything other than guilty to those abuse charges. They're right there. His identity is right there. When questioned about the nature of those photos and videos, the police chief said that they were in the home.
Chief, can you tell us if Stephan Sterns acted alone in all of this?
We're still uncovering all the evidence. I don't want to speculate whether he was or not. We will wait until the investigation, is completed to make that determination.
Has Stephan Sterns said he acted alone, or what has he said in interviews with you? Since we know he's in jail.
Yes.
What has he told you about other people's involvement, if any?
He has invoked his right to a lawyer, so we have not spoke with him.
Did you believe there are any additional victims?
No, it appears that this all was isolated to the home.
There was no other child involved. These were in the home. So these were all Madeline, that at least has been filmed. We don't know what other abuses Stephan has done to Madeline and to other children that weren't filmed. We don't know. That's another thing that they're going to be investigating. They're going to be investigating Stephan's contacts. They're going to be seeing if this is a bigger ring or not. So you can understand why there's a lot to get through. My question is, why hold a press conference when you've got nothing new? But I understand that investigation needs to take time. And I bet those officers are furious, absolutely disgusted with Stephan Sterns. So it makes sense that they'll want to, hold off making any charges until the full scope of the horror that Stephan Sterns was involved in and took part in is revealed. That's including the murder charges. It makes sense for them to take their time. They're in no rush. Stephan's not going anywhere. Police chief said soon as they saw what was on his phone, the phone that accidentally he factory reset. Yeah, okay. They knew they had to get him off the streets. And they've got him. They've got him where they need him. He's not going anywhere. He'll never get bond based on the amount of charges that he's got and the nature of those charges. So they might as well take their time. Because as soon as the charges are brought, he's possibly going to play hardball and try to plead not guilty and invoke his right to a speedy trial. So it makes sense for them to hold off. So I understand all of that. The other thing, though, that I was really surprised about was the medical examiner's report. It's understandable for some medical examiners, depends on the jurisdiction, not to provide any information from the medical examiner's office until the complete autopsy report is done. It's not usual, though. They will normally release preliminary findings, at least the cause and manner of death, before the full autopsy report is completed. Vinnie Politan from Court TV had a couple of guests on that gave their opinions about the medical examiner's report. This is one of them. Her connection was clearly bad because her sound was a bit off, but this is what this person said.
Okay, Dr. Priya Banerjee, waiting for the medical examiner's report to be finished. So what do you suspect is going on with the report right now?
So I think this is a multi-layered question, or answer, I should say. So when I've been involved in complex crimes that are high profile, there's constant communication with the police. So, she may be waiting for the final report, but that's not to say that what is known from the initial autopsy and as test results come in aren't shared. That's probably, incorrect. I would expect that my colleagues are working very hard and going to share whatever and whenever they know it. Now, things take time, right? So anything of the sort of DNA that we talked about, even if it's collected autopsy, that analysis can take time. Toxicology, as we know from other cases, it always takes time. It's not a rapid 24-hour test, even if it's accelerated. And then you have the analysis of the body. I mean, it's quite possibly that she wasn't in perfect condition, given, there was days until she was found. And then you really want to get the full analysis of the injuries themselves. So that may require analysis under a microscope, x-rays, additional help. I mean, something very broad, but it's to be complete, So there's sort of preliminary findings that are often shared, and then they're all finalized in the report. And you can't issue a report until everything's in.
And then Vinny had someone else on who knew about the procedures in Osceola County.
Ken Jackson, let me ask you about this report. We know Florida has the rule that protects the release of autopsies of minors in Florida, the new law that was passed in 2023. Do you expect this report to not be released? Do you expect investigators to at least give cause and manner if they don't provide the entire report? How do you think this will play in this case, in this scenario?
Sure. I do expect that we'll get what would be a partially to heavily redacted report. I can shed some light on the medical examiner's office. Osceola County does not have their own ME's office. They share that with Orange County, Orlando to the north. And Orange County has roughly 3 or 4 times the population as Osceola County. So there will be plenty of cases that they're likely processing. I have dealt with them on other stories, in other cases. Generally, we'll get a result back in about 2 to 3 weeks. These are cases where there isn't like toxicology and things like that. That could push it to like 3 to 4 weeks. I know tomorrow will be 3 weeks since the body was found, March 1st to March 22nd. So the release of that report could be imminent. I understand where Kissimmee police is saying that they're waiting on it because we're right about the timeline where if they did start processing it soon after they found the body on March 1st, that we could be seeing something here, soon, but rather high profile case with a lot of intricacies in with it. So, it's I would think we would see it soon. I would expect we will have access to at least the nuts and bolts of it, cause and such like that.
Yeah, things might be slower than we expect. We're all chomping at the bit, wanting to know Madeline's cause of death. We know this is a homicide investigation, so we're going to all guess the manner of death is homicide. Can't be anything else, really. Realistically, why would you cover up anything other than a homicide? The temperature, Madeline's body was out there for 4 days, from the 26th until the 1st, so 4 into 5 days. It's hot temperatures. In a wooded area, there's going to be, unfortunately, decomposition of that body that is sped up by the hot weather and by the fact that it was out in the open. The body probably wasn't in a very good condition. The local wildlife, insects, bacteria, etc. all take advantage of something that they can feast on. I know it's horrible when we're looking at this beautiful girl, but that's what Stephan Sterns is responsible for. Even if he didn't do the murder, he's the one that took her body there and left her there. We know that. You've seen changing a tyre on that very road in that very area at 1:30. The owner of that land said he had the gate open. So Stephan Sterns, I think, has driven in. He's dumped the body and he's come out. He's probably got a flat because he was driving on rough terrain. That's what I'm thinking. So he'd already dumped the body by the time he got the flat. So we need to wait, I guess, is the frustrating answer. We don't know Madeline's cause of death. We can guess the manner in which she died. We don't know how she died. Absolutely appalling, given that she's so full of life. A 13-year-old girl just entering her teens, and she had her life snuffed out by an absolute monster. I'm going to say the murder was conducted by Stephan. I'm still on the fence about Jenn's involvement. She lied. We can prove that much. She absolutely lied. But why did she lie is the question. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, folks.